You just saved me from getting into big, big trouble. Thank you, Jackie. I don't know why I always forget the button, but I'm good. I'm monitoring the waiting room.
No, no, no. Yeah, it's
All right.
easily done. That's what does it.
Yeah. So it would be pointless to contemplate the sufferings of samsara if there was no escape. We'd be like people just trying to drown our sorrows away at a bar in the dark of the night. So the first two truths, true sufferings and true paths, have been presented from the viewpoint of someone who is mired in samsara. But the third truth, the truth of cessation, and the fourth, the truth of the path, these are presented from the viewpoint of like a prisoner who's breaking out of the fiery prison of samsara for good. The third truth, the truth of cessation, explains why samsaric suffering can be terminated. In our previous sessions, we've discussed how the negative emotions and ignorance are like stains on a piece of cloth. They're not woven into its fabric, and with some good spot remover and elbow grease, they can eventually be washed away. The word cessation means an ending, a termination. So when something ceases, it will not return again. In the Buddhist context, through careful analysis and meditation on emptiness, we generate a sequence or a series of multiple cessations or realizations with unshakable conviction. So with respect to the selflessness of the I, we've looked at how our very identity, our persona, is glued inseparably, it's like pasted onto our bodies and minds. And we are an impermanent collection of the five aggregates in the nature of suffering, with this big I like plastered on our faces. To explore this question a little further, His Holiness the Dalai Lama writes, this is kind of a long quote. The question remains, what is the I? We are not searching for the conventional, ordinary, normal self, but are trying to pinpoint exactly what is the inherent referent of the term I. The aggregates are the basis of designation of the person, and the person or I, this inherently existing I, is a designated object. So when we search to find out exactly what the I is, to isolate and identify it as an objective entity with its own independent nature, what do we find? After we have investigated everything, so within the five aggregates, right? The body, the feelings, discrimination, miscellaneous factors, consciousness, the collection of these aggregates, so all the aggregates together, or something different from the aggregates, something existing outside of the aggregates, we still cannot find an independent person or I. So this is a quote from Following in the Buddha's Footsteps, which is volume 4 of the Library of Wisdom and Compassion. So what holds true for the lack of inherent existence or the emptiness of the self also holds true of all phenomena. Okay, so we're just extending this to the logical conclusion, to taking it to the next step. So likewise, all phenomena lack inherent existence. That is to say, they exist independent or in relation on something else. In terms of ourselves, like our relationships, right? We're parents only if we have children. We're married only if we have a spouse. And friends and enemies exist in relation to how we conceive of certain people. And someone who I might consider loathsome or intolerable is certainly someone else's treasured soulmate. So this conception of other arises in relation to our sense of self. So I draw a circle around what's me and mine. And this perimeter implies that everything outside of me must be other. Likewise, everything is dependently related. So if you think of just a simple example of your hand, in comparison to the pinky finger, then the ring finger is tall, right? But in comparison to the middle finger, then the ring finger is short. So without the other fingers as a reference point, it's difficult to understand, the height of just an individual finger. It's all relative. Likewise, if somebody hands you, 10,000 Indian rupees, your immediate reaction is to run to Google and try to calculate how much 10,000 rupees is in US dollars. So you know its value, right? Otherwise, it's just kind of meaningless. Is it a lot? Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just a little. If you were in India, it would be quite a lot. If you were in the United States, it'd be not so much. So at the most subtle level of analysis, phenomena exist in dependence on conceptual thought processes and labeling, right? So our sense faculties, how does this work? Our sense faculties roll out the red carpet for the world, right? And invite it to be our guest. It's like, come inside, come on down. Based on the initial perception of an object, the mental consciousness then analyzes it, dissects it, compares it to pre-existing definitions, categories, classifications, the inner dictionary. This process is most noticeable when we encounter something unfamiliar. We can feel our minds, kind of slow down and chug through it, process the sensory input, comparing it to experiences of the past, etc. Trying to figure out, is this a threat or is it a treat? And this is happening, constantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So just for fun, I have this photo. Let me see if I can bring this up. So share screen. I just want to do this as like a quick little funny break. Hopefully my share screen is going to be cooperative. I had this open. Yes, you can do it. Could somebody let me know if you can see this? Unmute yourself and let me know if you can see it.
Not yet.
Really? No, that's terrible. Does it look like it's coming?
We see your directory of Tendril Nutshell Class 4.
But you don't see the PowerPoint slide.
Correct.
Huh. Stop share. Let me try this again. Okay, share screen. Sorry. I should be able to go here and then open it. Still don't see it?
Correct.
Oh, what's going on? Oh my goodness. What else could I do? It's open here. It's open there. One more try. I'm going to try to open it in Google Drive. Can you see me playing around in Google Drive?
No.
Really? What kind of share is this?
I don't know.
Pretty lame.
Unless you are in Google Drive, I'm not sure.
Does it say for a measure? Now you should be seeing a weird picture.
No. No, I just see your PowerPoint and PDF Buddhism in a nutshell files. It's like it's in your, are you on Google?
Yeah, I opened the browser on Firefox and then I have the presentation open.
Okay, so if you have that file clicked on, I see a run up at the top. You see run? Do you need to click that in order to run it? I mean, it's just showing us the folder and your files.
The Google Drive or the other thing?
I don't know if it's Google Drive that we're looking at.
I don't think
Oh,
so.
does it say Nutshell Class 4 Dolphin? Yeah, that's probably
Yes.
showing this.
But I think maybe you need to select run at the top. Maybe, I don't know.
They run. I don't see a run. Maybe if I close this, maybe it can
Oh.
only show one thing at a time.
Hmm.
Oh, I guess it's not gonna work. I think I'm gonna give up because I don't want to waste your time. That's a shame. Okay, well, I can see the fifth picture. You can't. Oh dear. Well, the only way oh, that's too bad.
You could send it to someone and they could try.
Ugh.
Well, that's a lot. I know that's a lot of work.
I was gonna just open it on my computer, maybe. And I'm just gonna pick it up. Boy, this is really low tech. Hang on. This is low tech. If I hold it up, then you can see it, right? Okay, here you go. No, I have some other slides. It's not, I'm not just doing it for this one picture. Can you see that?
Is it a girl's back? I don't know what that is.
See, that's the whole point of the exercise, was just to
Yeah.
watch your mind say, what the heck?
The glare is not very good. Look,
Oh, that probably doesn't help.
yeah.
Anyway, okay. So hopefully, I'm going to do the petitioner. All right, here we go back. Someday I'll figure this all out. So due to our ignorance of how things exist, we see ourselves and phenomena as standing alone, as permanent, meaning unchanging, and independent of causes and conditions. In this sense, ignorance is taken to mean misconception, so not knowing, so lacking reason. And then the opposite of ignorance then is the wisdom realizing emptiness. So whereas the mind of ignorance is narrowly constrained and contaminated by anger and desire, the mind imbued with pure wisdom is infinite like space. So in the Mahayana or Sanskrit tradition, wisdom alone is not enough to attain Buddhahood. Our motivation must be purely altruistic. We must renounce samsara out of compassion to end the suffering of all beings. So the remainder of today's session focuses on the last of the four truths, which is the truth of the path, which centers around three trainings: ethical conduct, single-pointed concentration, or shine, and wisdom. We will see how these practices are perfected by bodhisattvas, who are spiritual practitioners who generate the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta. So many of you have probably heard the term bodhicitta before. Bodhi means awakened, and chitta means mind. So Tibetans translated the term bodhicitta into Tibetan as Jang Chup, where Jang means that all mental obscurations have been completely purified. And as a result, it's a mind that can directly perceive all phenomena. So it's like seeing into a mirror, a reflection that is that's crystal clear, no pollutants, no dust. Chup, the second syllable, means to enhancing our good qualities. Similarly, the word for Buddha in Tibetan is Sangye, where Sang means to eliminate negativities, and Ge means to expand in the sense of knowing all phenomena and actualizing all excellent qualities. So in the very first session, we took a brief look at the Buddha's qualities, but they're many. So anyway, the point is that enlightenment isn't an actual place. Rather, it's a state of mind known as bodhicitta. So at its center lies a sincere wish to free all sentient beings from samsara. This is true compassion. And this aspiration is unique to the Sanskrit tradition, and we will take a closer look at it. So spiritual practitioners of both the Pali and the Sanskrit traditions give rise to 4 closely interwoven qualities in relation to themselves and to others. And these are love, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity. These 4 qualities are gently nurtured through the beautiful meditation known as the 4 immeasurables. So we're going to go through the prayer. Wow, this is too bad. First, we meditate on equanimity. And here, equanimity means seeing all beings as equally deserving of one's attention, love, compassion, joy, and respect. So in order to do this, we start by casting away our tendency to be partial to some people and distant from others. Doing so enables us to bring our deep-seated compassion to life, and this compassion is the foundation for bodhicitta to blossom. So in the chat, I put up the link to the Google Drive where I've stored the PDF files and the PowerPoint presentation that has the slides that I was going to go through. And it also has, included in the PDFs is the actual, the prayer, the 4 immeasurables. So if you want, you could try accessing the Drive folder, and then you could see the PowerPoint presentation and the PDFs.
I do not anyway see anything in the chat right now.
Either.
Really?
No, it was there. It's DNKL to everyone. If you go, I see it.
In
So
the-
I'll resend
In the
it.
chat?
Yeah, I'll resend it.
I don't see it.
Wow.
I just resent it.
Oh, you sent it to me privately. I can
Oh.
resend it to the group.
That's it. Yeah.
You see it now?
Yes.
Oh. Isn't that strange?
Oh, no. You just said I saw it. Somebody said I saw it.
We do not see
Yeah,
it.
yeah. If you
No, it's
open
not there.
chat, there were 3, and I
Yeah.
found it. So that's weird.
Here, I'm going to send it one more time. I'm sending it to everyone.
Good.
Yeah, now I see it.
Okay, maybe it just got scrolled down or something. All right, so let's see if we can do this.
Oh, so we need a login, right?
For Google
Yeah.
Drive, do you have a Google account? I'm not sure you need a Google account.
Yeah, you do. I can't get in. I don't know if anyone else can.
No, I can't either.
Does it say permissions are wrong, or does it say?
It says you need permission.
Yeah, and then I asked for it and they said they'd send me an email.
Let me see. I think I know what happened. I must have just given permission to the individual files, so I can fix that. I think DNKL. I'm not sure course. Get share. Okay, here share. Change to anyone with this link. Okay, that should work. I changed the permissions at the folder level. So you should be able to get into the individual files.
Success over here. That worked. Thank you.
Yep.
Yay.
Yay, well done.
Go Google.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Right? So equanimity. So we're just going to go through, I think we're going to go through each of the qualities, and then we'll read the prayer together, because I think, it'll be a more informed reading. So equanimity. So each of these is described as having, in terms of its aspect, its function, its cause, and what happens if you perfect it, successfully, or if it doesn't quite work out, if it fails. So the aspect of equanimity is it's promoting balance towards beings, a balanced mind towards all beings. And the function is to help us see the equality in all beings, right? So it's like equal opportunity for all. The cause for equanimity to arise is seeing that each being, seeing that everyone is the owner or is responsible for their own karma. Equanimity reduces anger and attachment. And in cases where we have difficulty cultivating equanimity, then, you know, kind of like the opposite would just be a mind that's indifferent and apathetic, kind of an uncaring mind. And the next is love, which is that friendly openness, that sense of affection to others, which functions to overcome malice. And it arises from being able to see all other beings as endearing, you know, as close friends. In terms of success, then it uproots a malicious, you know, evil kind of mind. And when we can't cultivate love, then we become ensnared by just selfish desire, right? So selfish desire is the opposite of love. Now we turn to compassion. So compassion, the key, you know, point here is this idea of alleviating the suffering of all sentient beings. So not just feeling close to them, but taking it a step further and feeling that we're responsible for alleviating, you know, the suffering, whatever it is, hunger, thirst, being homeless. So it's finding others' suffering completely unbearable. And it manifests as non-harming, you know, non-violence to all. It arises due to when we come into, when we witness, you know, the suffering of others, then seeing how overwhelmed they are by suffering, thinking that, you know, wow, they need my help. So compassion, you know, reduces cruelty in all of its aspects. And when we do not cultivate compassion, then we may just feel overcome, you know, by our own personal distress, wrapped up in our own problems. The last of the immeasurables is empathetic joy, which delights at the happiness and good fortune of others. Right? So not so much, oh, great, you know, my neighbor won the lottery, but more, you know, rejoicing in the virtuous acts that somebody might have done, you know, such as rescuing 300 alley cats, you know, in Brooklyn or whatever it is, or rejoicing, you know, when somebody has completed, you know, a retreat or done many prostrations and the like. So the function is to bring a sense of joy to the mind and to overcome envy. The immediate cause is seeing others' success. And it reduces jealousy and I guess boredom. Boredom meaning maybe here just like a sense of apathy or indifference. And when it doesn't work out, I think if the mind cannot feel joy when somebody else, you know, does something virtuous, then it produces giddy excitement. Okay, so let's read the prayer. So if you look in the folder, there's a PDF entitled The Four Immeasurables.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to go through this, you know, slowly, keeping in mind all that we've learned about the four immeasurables. And how wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were to abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. May they abide in this way. I shall cause them to abide in this way. Guru Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings had happiness and its causes. May they have these. I shall cause them to have these. Guru Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were free from suffering and its causes. May they be free. I shall cause them to be free. Guru Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were never parted from fortunate rebirths and liberation's excellent bliss. May they never be parted. I shall cause them never to be parted. Guru Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. So this is the longer version of the Four Immeasurables prayer. In one of the previous classes, we read through the shorter version. So the purpose of the meditation is to steep our minds in these four qualities so that they become, an integral part of us. So, you would on your own, repeat these verses over and over and over again and really, bring, wrap your mind, around each of the different points until you feel, a change in your relationship to others, right? So, you'll notice that the longer version of the prayer, each verse is structured the same way, right? So it starts out with a wish, how wonderful it would be, right? And then an aspiration, then a resolution. And then the last one is interesting, when we say, oh, Guru Buddha, please, give me some assistance, right? Please inspire me to be able to do so. And so it's kind of like going through all of these the aspiration, and then you say, yes, I'm going to do it. And then you think, oh my gosh, maybe this isn't so easy. I need some help, right? So anyway, it's a really beautiful prayer. And it's this particular version is particular to the Sanskrit Mahayana tradition. The shorter version is shared in common with the Pali tradition. Okay. We're doing all right? Any questions? Everyone all right? Now that we made it through all our technical problems.
I had one question about the slides on the empathetic joy. I didn't quite understand what you meant by produces giddy excitement if it fails.
Yeah. I'm thinking that maybe it's if you don't have empathetic joy, then that means that you're not able to if you're not feeling happy when you see somebody doing something wonderful, then maybe it means like the opposite, that you would just feel excitement in a negative sense. I took it to mean almost like the excitement of jealousy or something, but I could be wrong. Because the opposite of feeling joy when you see somebody doing something wonderful would be to either feel jealous, I think, to envious, right? So I think that's a kind of unsettled, excited state of mind. So how do
Is-
you meditate? Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. Is
ahead.
there ever does anyone not go through a rebirth? And if they do, what happens?
Oh,
Does
you
that
mean,
make sense?
yeah, no, everybody, all sentient beings, are reborn at the end of, whether they're, animals or humans, right? Or the gods, right? Everybody is going to be reborn. As long as you're in samsaric existence, right? As long as you're stuck in samsara, then you go through that same cycle until you're enlightened, right? And then you jump off the Ferris wheel. You're in the nature of
But we can control what you're saying is without, if we quit doing negative thinking and if we have the four immeasurables, then we can control our karmic imprints, our rebirths,
right, exactly.
and to a much better evolving enlightened being. I guess that's what you're trying to say, right?
Yep.
But then you could also control it to go the other way, as in, like in life, you have two choices, right? You have choice.
Sure.
So if I continue down a path of negative emotions and I can't experience the four immeasurables, then I'm the opposite of enlightenment. I'm disenlightened. What happens? I mean, what happens at that point? You just keep leading a miserable, insufferable life.
Right. And so the teachings would say that in your next life, so somebody who had committed, mass murders,
Yes. Ooh.
et cetera, right? So they would be reborn in one of the lower realms, most likely, right? So you'd be born in the hell realms, and you'd be there for a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
But that
makes
being said,
sense.
then we've all been through the hell realms multiple times, and we hit the jackpot. We created the causes and conditions to be reborn as a human being in this life, and so like you said, so we have everything that we need to continue along making
Our enlightened path.
Yeah.
Thank you. Interesting.
Yep. Then we're going to talk a lot more about that right now, actually. So how to meditate on love. So we can't go through a detailed explanation of each of the four immeasurable qualities. So we're just we're going to talk about love, since that's the first one. So first, we start out by cultivating love for ourselves, right? And so over and over again, you just repeat to yourself, all of the good things that you wish for yourself. So you can say, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I, be free from suffering, right? May I be, and then the qualities that you want to develop, may I be more generous, may I be kind and thoughtful, may I be a better listener. All right. So why do we do this? Why do we start with, meditating on love for ourselves first? It's not, being selfish or anything. It's really to just give us practice in wishing, for these qualities to develop. And then when you can do it for yourself, then, with some confidence and sincerity, then, the next step is to practice these wishes for somebody else. So, the next step is to extend the love that you're generating to a specific person. So the point being that, when you do the four immeasurables, the meditation on the four immeasurables, it's better to be specific. And so that's what we're describing. Don't try to think of just like all sentient beings and like this big peace, love, and granola, generality, right? You have to really work with a specific individual for each verse. Okay, so you start out with yourself, and then you find think of a specific person. This was kind of interesting, who you feel great respect for. So, like your spiritual teacher, your lama, your root guru, recalling his or her guidance and instruction and support, and be inspired by his virtue and spiritual accomplishments, and extend, all your love, give all your love to him. Then extend your love to someone who you're close to, like a friend or a relative, but being careful not to fall into, like clingy attachment. Then you extend your love to somebody who's neutral in your life, thinking of her just as you thought of your close friend or your relative, right? So now you think of that neutral person, like maybe somebody that you passed on the street, and you think of that person with as much affection and love as you did your dear friend. So this kind of, it carries through. So she also wants happiness and to be free from suffering, just as your dear friend and just as you do. No difference. Finally, develop a love for a hostile person, seeing him as a neutral person, and not somebody, who's overtly hostile to you necessarily, but instead somebody for whom you have hostile feelings. So you go through the meditation, right, on each of the verses. And so you could do all of the verses for yourself first, and then you do all of the verses for, your spiritual teacher, and then all of the verses for a friend, etc. And that at the end of the meditation, then you just stop, right? And let it all kind of soak in. So you think that, each of these people have actually received all of your good wishes, all of your love has been received, and they're happy. Okay. Oh, here comes Gloria in the waiting room. So the main obstacle to generating love is anger. So very often resentment, jealousy, pride, and other similar emotions are mixed in a toxic witch's brew along with anger. So fortunately, there are many, many, many techniques for coping with one's anger in a difficult situation, ranging from just counting to 10 or simply walking away. One method is to identify the causes of a conflict to determine why you're angry. So it's like a root cause analysis. So to give a simple example, the other day I was cleaning up the area where I store firewood, and I accidentally disturbed a wasp's nest. And before I knew it, there were wasps, in my gloves. There were wasps crawling up my shirt sleeves. And minutes later, my hands and arms were swollen and painful, and they looked like rock lobster, which, if you're looking in your slide deck, is the funny photo. Where's my funny photo? Here it is. It's this one. Does anybody remember this? Any B-52 fans?
Oh, rock lobster, yeah.
Rock lobster, the crazy story. Yeah, well.
Oh, it's painful.
Yeah, it was not fun. But I couldn't be angry with the wasps because I was the one who uncovered their nest, right? They were just minding their own business. It was a beautiful day. They're buzzing around doing their wasp work, and they reacted purely out of self-defense. And I don't even know if wasps, have the emotion anger per se. So if I were to be angry with the wasps, where exactly, should the anger be directed? Was it, the wasp as a whole, or is it the stinger that got stuck in my flesh? The venom, that was pumped into my poor arm? Or, maybe I'm just totally misdirected, right? So maybe I should just be angry with my own hand and my own arm for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or my own, ignorance for not knowing that it was there. So being able to recognize anger while it's still in its infancy, right? Still an annoyance or a minor irritation, and taking care of it, addressing it immediately is critical. So the take-home lesson there is we need to continuously watch our minds, just as a ship's captain scans the horizon for signs of danger. So reflecting on the disadvantages of anger is one way to prevent anger on the basis of reason. The Dalai Lama explains how we are the victims of our anger, and rather than harming our enemies, as we intend to when we get mad, we wind up harming ourselves. And he quotes 7 different disadvantages of anger from the Sutra on the Wretchedness of Anger. And here are just a few. And it's kind of funny because you can tell Venerable Thupten Chodron has made these examples more exciting, more interesting. So it says, even if we have bathed in fragrant water, wear stylish clothes, and are adorned with luxurious jewelry, we become ugly when angry. Even if we are lying on a comfortable bed, snuggled in luxurious blankets, we are in pain when we are angry. We may want friends and good family relations, but dreading our temper, others stay away from us. So this is in the book by the Dalai Lama and Thupten Chodron called In Praise of Great Compassion. So this is volume 4 in the series. It's on page 15. So oftentimes disagreements arise due to misunderstanding and miscommunication, which results in tempers flaring and heated email exchanges. As in the example that I presented earlier, during a conversation, even just between 2 people, there are multiple layers of identities, assumptions, and lots of ego grasping. So what can we do about this? Nonviolent communication or deep listening is a very important skill set that we can all benefit from learning. And there's actually an organization, a nonprofit group called the Center for Nonviolent Communication. And in their mission statement, they explain nonviolent communication is a technique where we learn to hear our own deeper needs and those of others. Through its emphasis on deep listening to ourselves as well as to others, nonviolent communication helps us discover the depths of our own compassion. This language reveals the awareness that all human beings are only trying to honor universal values and needs every minute, every day. So they're offering courses around the world. And fortunately, they've recently started offering virtual training. It used to be, like it was in person only. So I'm going to sign up. I think it'll be fascinating. Okay, so by abandoning our attachment to the 8 worldly desires, like our savings account, our iPhones, etc., we've talked about how we can eliminate anger and other afflictive emotions. By thoroughly understanding how karma works, we turn away from harming others and instead favor ethical conduct. As a result, with fewer distractions and a refined emotional balance, we can control our minds and achieve single-pointed concentration. Meditative stability, rooted in equanimity, is like a fertile field where countless wisdom flowers bloom. In the absence of self-cherishing, ignorance, and the like, love, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity emerge spontaneously in this field of meditative stability. And bodhicitta, which is the aspiration for achieving Buddhahood for all, arises from these conjoined qualities. in particular, great compassion. So there are many inconceivable benefits of bodhicitta for ourselves and for others, both in this very lifetime and in the future. Being aware of the benefits inspires us to make an effort to cultivate bodhicitta. So generally, practicing bodhicitta brings lasting happiness to this life. And by holding others dearer than ourselves, we treat them gently and calmly. We're skilled in communication. We're all like nonviolent communication experts. So our relationships become peaceful. It's very difficult to get extremely upset or angry at somebody who's looking at you directly while radiating pure love. So when you think of, our great lamas like Gyaltsen Khenchen Rinpoche or His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Geshe Dargay, it's difficult to get mad at them because they just have our best interests, at heart all the time. When our minds are filled with the four immeasurables, our blood pressure naturally drops, our health improves, the clouds of depression disappear. When we fall ill or encounter other difficulties, we remain undisturbed and we can keep things in the correct perspective. When we pass away peacefully at the end of our lives, we die with no regrets, knowing that bodhicitta has made our lives meaningful. So someone who's generated bodhicitta is known as a bodhisattva. And there are different degrees of bodhicitta. There's aspiring bodhicitta and an engaged bodhicitta. And bodhisattvas progress through levels of meditative realizations until they finally reach Buddhahood. In addition to realizing emptiness through wisdom, bodhisattvas engage in 6 deeds that include, these 6 include all other virtuous practices. So the 6 are known as the 6 perfections. So I'll just go through these briefly. This is the topic of the Sunday class that Geshe Dargay has been leading. Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. So the first is generosity. So by giving away our possessions, we overcome our naturally greedy attachment to sensual objects. Ethical discipline is when we restrain ourselves from being naughty, so not engaging in non-virtuous behavior. Non-harming others is really what it comes down to. And then the third one is patience. So by not despairing at the suffering caused by the harm that others inflict, but instead being patient. We do not abandon living beings. We don't give up on people who are harming others. Joyous perseverance. We increase virtue by joyously persevering in whatever virtuous acts we undertake with intense long-term enthusiasm. Like we never give up. Just keep going. You don't, do a practice for some time and then stop. And then you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to start again. All right, do it again. So meditative stabilization is the 5th, which is, which allows us to clear away all of the afflictions, through calm abiding meditation. And then the last is wisdom. So wisdom clears away the seeds, both the seeds and the cognitive or knowledge obscurations. So this is the 6 perfections as described in Tsongkhapa's Lamrim Chenmo, Volume 2, page 108. So in conclusion, it's extremely rare to come into contact with the Buddha's teachings. And it's even rarer for people to really be interested. So Buddhism gradually vanished, in India, through the course of history, right? Buddhism was originally had a very strong following in India, but if you think of India, Buddhism in India now. It's really not at all what it used to be. And likewise, today, due to China's relentless persecution, Buddhism is slowly going extinct even in Tibet. So even though more and more people are interested in Buddhism outside Tibet and, in other countries, and it has a strong following, in Southeast Asia, in Taiwan and the like, still, the number of people who are truly studying the authentic Dharma teachings is quite limited. And the number who are putting them into practice is even smaller. But the Dalai Lama offered words of encouragement, and this was at a teaching back in the 1980s at a Dharma center in London. So I was listening to the recording, and he said, we need to be realistic in terms of the time required to generate bodhicitta. So we should compare our behavior with our behavior of 5 or 10 years ago, and think in terms of life after life, even eons. If we only think in terms of days or weeks, then it's really impossible to generate bodhicitta. But we each have Buddha nature, so our efforts, absolutely comes from us. Everything depends on our own effort to change, to take the medicine the Buddha has given us. We have both Buddha nature and the methods for liberation. So I was going to end with the prayer to liberate Sakyas from disease. But before we do that, are there any questions? And if you want to unmute yourself and then maybe, say your name, that would be nice.
Sure. I'm really afraid to ask questions, but I'm going to ask one anyway. I've heard that in China, Buddhism is getting stronger. In China, not in Tibet. And I've heard that it's the fastest growing religion in the world. Can we take some hope in that? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't heard that. Yeah, that would be good news.
Yeah, I think in China it's slowly growing because the government is allowing some religious study, but they're allowing it with restrictions, so that if it's taught as quote unquote Buddhism, hardcore Buddhism, it's not being allowed, but it is being allowed to be shared in groups under the careful watch of government agents who are present during the meetings.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I just send that out there to start the debate. I mean, it's a frightening thought that Buddhism is possibly going to be removed from Tibet or reducing in popularity in Tibet. This frightens the heck out of me.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear what everyone else thinks.
I know that there's a particular sect. I'm trying to remember the name of the sect from Japan that's very popular in Italy. It's got like 60 or 80,000 followers. Nichiren Daishonin.
Yeah, no, I don't know very much about Japanese Buddhism.
That particular one it focuses a lot on chanting, and they have like a long prayer book that they chant. But actually, I'm chiming in because I had a question about the 4 immeasurables. This is Rick, by the way.
Hi, Rick.
Hi. I had a question about the 4 immeasurables prayer.
Okay.
If the objective is to realize the emptiness of the I, then why in the 4 immeasurables prayer does it say I shall cause them to abide in this way? Please inspire me. Why isn't it we shall cause them to abide in this way?
We? Who would we refer to?
That's a good question. It would refer to me as being no greater in importance than the other people around me. So,
That's an interesting way of thinking about it. Well, I mean, I think there are two different perspectives, right? So if you're looking at the I from the perspective of ultimate reality, right? If you put on the ultimate reality glasses, the wisdom glasses, the emptiness glasses, then yeah, you're right. We've been talking about how the I is, doesn't exist inherently. But when we're saying, the prayer, then it's okay for the ordinary I. We still have a conventional I, right?
right.
We're not negating the conventional I, the I that's, sitting in class, listening, learning about the Dharma, right?
Right. That's true.
I
We have to improve one mind at a time, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, what we're negating is that artificial, the me, myself, I, the inherently existent I that's plastered on, the five aggregates. That non-existent, independently existing I, that's the mistaken I, right? But the person who's striving on the path, right, that ordinary I, still exists.
Okay. Thank you.
So if you guys want to, you should. I would encourage you to start your videos so you can see each other. Otherwise, you won't even know who you were in class with.
So whoever was just talking there, I want to go a little, inquire a little further. So if there is no self-existent I, ultimately, when we talk about I wish to become enlightened, that's ridiculous because once you're enlightened, you're no I. There's no I. Once you're an enlightened being, right? So, but I think what I'm just asking, I guess, is this what you're, Ani, are you referring to the idea that I'm not going to wait for someone else to do this? I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to choose to take this path. I am not going to sit around thinking, oh, I've got a lot of empathy for these suffering beings. I'm so empathetic, but someone else will take care of them, which I think I do that a lot. I think, oh, a Geshe will take care of it, or a nun like yourself will take care of it, or a Buddha will take care of it. And then I hear this kind of prayer or this kind of mind where you say, okay, no, I'm not going to push this off. I'm not going to shuck responsibility,
Exactly. Yeah. Right. I mean, it totally overcomes apathy and that sense of, just like you said, it's somebody else's, responsibility to do it. Yeah, well said.
Hi, Andy. I had two thoughts. The first one, I don't know. This is Karen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Richard remembers meeting Devorah, but she has a huge following in Israel as well.
Oh, yeah. Devorah,
yeah. And then I was thinking about the giddy joyousness, and I was wondering why we wouldn't just take that right at face value. If it just results in a type of giddiness that really doesn't have any grounding in any kind of spiritual virtue.
Oh, okay. So no empathetic joy means you're just kind of distracted by giddy excitement, by just getting excited by distractions, maybe. Yeah, that could be too.
Yeah, I think that's really just kind of at face value. I don't know if that's what was intended, but it seemed to me that might be plausible.
I'll go with that. Any other ideas? Nope. Okay, so we're going to read the the prayer liberating Sakya from disease, which is in that folder. Hopefully everybody can pull it up. If you're completely new to Buddhism, this may be a little bit of a stretch. So you can maybe just, experience it as thinking, oh, well, look, this is an example of a prayer that the Buddhists, offer. For others of you, if you've been studying for a while, practicing for a while, then this would probably be okay. So we're going to do it anyway. So this is one of the practices that is being done, around the world to help overcome the COVID virus. And in fact, it's being done every Saturday. Lama Zopa Rinpoche asked the International Mahayana Institute Sangha. So all the monks and nuns that are part of FPMT are doing this every Saturday for 24 hours, like a little prayer-thon. So, you don't have to participate, but just, again, that's something to rejoice in, that people are making this effort. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and start. All sentient beings equal to space go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of gurus, meditational deities, and dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. All sentient beings equal to space go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of gurus, meditational deities, and dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. All sentient beings equal to space go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of gurus, meditational deities, and dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dharmakaya. So then we'll recite the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, which is the heart mantra of the Buddha of compassion, Chenrezig. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Omani beme omo mani 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 beme omani beme omo mani 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 beme omani beme omo mani 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 beme O mani beme omo 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 mani beme O mani beme omo 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 mani beme O mani beme omo 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 mani beme O mani beme omo mani beme omo mani beme omo mani beme when we're doing the chanting, then you can visualize the syllables Om Mani Padme Hum, circling clockwise, seated on a beautiful lotus. And the lotus and the letters are in the nature of light. And they're sending out light rays of love and compassion. All of the four immeasurables. Think that all of the four immeasurables are emanating from streams of light from the 6 syllables Om Mani Padme Hum. And just hold them at your heart, seated on the lotus. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 om mani Om mani padme hum, 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 om mani padme hum. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of spirits, illnesses, and the elements, not occur in the realms of the world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading a being to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic, and other infectious diseases, the mere sound of whose names terrifies beings as though they had been placed in the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of harmful interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every pleasure, be totally pacified. And may the body and mind have radiance and power and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the gurus and the triple gem, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the strength of the infallibility of karma and its results, may these many dedications and prayers be fulfilled as soon as they are made. So this prayer was written by the Mahasiddhi, Tangtung Gyalpo. Right. Any last questions, comments? Okay, well then, thank you very much for coming, and I wish you every success, and hope that you continue learning more and practicing, and I'll see you again some other time out here on Zoom. All right, take care. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ronnie.
Okay.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you.
Thank you,
Sure.
Ronnie.
Thank you, Annie.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Linda.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.